Hi guys, Dave Vincent here. Dog bark for Christ. Just a minute. Okay. Hi guys, Dave Vincent here. I'm not sure where I'm going to post this video, but it's going to be about fear. And I'm reading this book, Hinds Feet. Oh, by the way, you like these? I had these stashed in there and I forgot about them. A few people said you need a microphone. Well, I can't afford to buy a microphone right now. We're in some financial duress right now. We'll talk about that some other day. It'll be in my update for the end of the month. We're going through some financial struggles right now in the Philippines, but God is good. He's given us a peace. He's given us peace about it. So I should be worried. I should be upset. I should be angry. I should. There's a lot of feelings that I could have. Fear is one of them. So today I want to talk about fear. So I'm reading this book, Hinds Feet on High Places. By the way, I'm so glad that I popped this book open again after all these years. One of my very favorite Christian. Um, it's an allegory. So it's like a made up story with made up characters, kind of like Pilgrim's Progress. But I think it's better than Pilgrim's Progress. Sorry, the dogs interrupt here. So it's I think it's better than Pilgrim's Progress because I don't know. It's just always struck me as closer to my heart. I feel much more that I'm just like Pilgrim and I'm the Christian what's his name, Christian Pilgrim in the Pilgrim's Progress. I don't relate to him as much, you know. But they're both good books and I love them both. But this one here, this the characters are amazing. So this girl is much afraid, and she's crippled, and she's scared all the time. And she's just this little girl, not little girl, young lady, but I picture her as small and demure and not very strong, not a hero type at all. And but she follows the shepherd in the valley, and she helps him tend the sheep, and she's got that first step that I take the step and now God's going to sanctify me. He's going to, but it's hard. It's hard to get up to those hinds feet. Why is it called hinds feet on high places? Because you have to have hinds feet. It says in the Psalm and somewhere else. I know it's in the Psalms. I know it's in two places. It talks about He gives me those feet. He gives me those hinds feet. He gives me the ability to go up to the high places. Those who wait on the Lord will mount up with wings. He gives us the ability to go up with Him to the high places. And that's a good place to be. I've been there a couple of times, but I can't stay there. So he's helping me develop these hinds feet so that my heart can always be in the high places. So I can, so that then as Oswald Chambers says, I can come back down into the valley. Huh? I can come back down into the valley. Why? Because that's where you're needed. That's where you're needed. You're not, it's okay to be a monk and learn stuff and then share it with people, but it's much better to be with the people. It's what you can grow in the knowledge of God, but you can't grow in the grace of God unless you're doing grace, unless you're giving grace to people around you, right? So I love this book, Hinds Feet. And as I'm reading through it, I keep pulling stuff out and I keep taking notes of the quotes and stuff. So they call the Lord the Shepherd. In this part of it, He's called the Shepherd, right? So here's a quote from the Shepherd. It's one of the times when much afraid is very very scared. She's in a horrible place and she's very scared and she doesn't want to go on. Every time she has a little victory, then it gets harder again. He doesn't just take her up the let's go. You said a prayer, now you're in. God is good all the time. All the time, God is good. It's not just happiness and rainbows and wear nice clothes and go to church and we're the happy people. We're the ones that have all the blessings. It's not like that. We have all the blessings of the Lord, but most of those are in our soul. We don't have all the worldly blessings, and we certainly don't have ungodly blessings in our lives. But here's what he says to her. I'm gonna have to put my glasses on here, which is going to be kind of hard. There, I did it. He says, if you ever let Craven Fear begin painting a picture on the screen of your imagination, you will walk with fear and trembling and agony where no fear is. What does that mean? It means your imagination can think about things, and always my imagination is very good. I might one of these days I might write a fantasy story about Christianity. I might write my own allegory someday. I don't know, but I have a very vivid imagination. And he says you can imagine things in fear that are not real. Huh? Oh, Jesus said. He said, "Cast no cares upon tomorrow, for tomorrow will take care of itself. Sufficient is the day for the troubles therein." Huh? So don't let craven fear get in your heart and in your mind and your soul. You can say that about any sin, really. If you let any of the sins get into your mind, your imagination, they're gonna just try to destroy you. Imagination, like A.W. Tozer talked. I think it was The Pursuit of God, the book The Pursuit of God. By the way, another one of my most famous. I could give you a list one day of all the. Maybe I can do it now. What are the all-time best Christian books you should read besides the Bible? So for me, these are just for me. You might not like the same books that I do, but Oswald Chambers, My Utmost for His Highest, is one of them. It's a very amazing book. It's very his life is very powerful. He's one of those that I love because he's an outsider. He didn't come up the normal way, and he always stood apart. And he just his pursuit of God is amazing. The other one is The Pursuit of God by A.W. Tozer. Amazing book. God is a person. We must have a relationship with Him. It's not something that happens someday. It's not. It's we're not in a position. Someday we're going to be in the position of no. We have Him now. The kingdom of heaven is here. Let's grasp it. Let's commune with Him. Another one is The Heart of God and the Soul of Man. I think is the title of it. I always butcher the title, but it's by a guy named Henry Scougal, and he's an old. It might be hard to read if you can't read old stuff, but he's an old Puritan. He talks about religion is communion with God, and that's it, right? And another one of my all-time favorite books is this book called The Pilgrim Church. I think that's the name of it, by Broadbent. The Pilgrim Church by Broadbent, and it's a story of the authentic church over the years. And he kind of loses me when he gets to the Plymouth Brethren because I'm not a fan. But all the way up to that, it's an amazing book because it tells you what happened when the Catholic Church and the Orthodox Church were growing up, and who are the Moravians and who are these other people who actually were just following Jesus. They weren't following the church. I love that book. It's called The Pilgrim Church. Another one is what's the other one? One more. I think it's just one more. Hinds Feet on High Places, of course, by Hannah Arendt. Francis Fenelon. Um, Francis Fenelon has a book called, or a bunch of writings, but letters. Any of his letters books are amazing, amazing. Like you can use it as a devotional. How to get closer to God, how to be humble, how to surrender to God. It's just amazing. And then the last one is one called, oh, not the last one, Kingdom of the Risen Son, SLN by Steve Craig. It's the greatest book that explains what the church is and what the church should be doing that anything I've ever read. And I'm fixing to read it for the third time because he's so in depth in his scholarshiposity. One of my favorite scholars. I don't know if he calls himself a scholar, but he's a scholar. And then the other one is this one called the Trouble with Wineskins. I forgot the guy's name. I could see the book right in my mind's eye. But the Trouble with Wineskins, because it talks about the new wine. Now, at the end of the day, I have a different definition of the new wine than he does. For him, the new wine is just new methods of church or new methods of this. And I think that's our truth. But I think Jesus was talking about the new covenant, and that became a very powerful. So those are my books. So what was this video about? Now I lost my track. Just a second. Oh yeah, it was about fear. Sorry, I got sidetracked. But I learned from my friend Mark. Um, to follow those sidetracks, follow those eddies instead of just throwing them off to the side. Because once you open it, you have to explain to people or they won't listen to you. And so the five people that listen to me, the eight, whatever it is, I want you to know what I'm talking about when I say my favorite books. I've written a few books too that you might like. I think Greater Things and Simply Jesus and God Touched Me are the three that I would highly recommend. There's others, but by David Pinson, Pinson on Amazon. I sell about 3 a month. Cutting a fat hog here on my $9 that goes in the ministry's bank account. So fear, don't let fear take over. Like I forgot what it was. One of the sci-fi movies, Dune, and it said fear is a little death, fear is the mind killer. I always remember that. And most of the time, the fear is worse than the actual thing. Because why? Do not fear. It says Joshua when he goes in the land, be brave, be bold, for the Lord your God is with you. Do not fear, because I will be with you. The Lord is my shepherd. His rod, he strengthens me. Hmm? So as the Lord strengthens me, and as I lean on Him, there's really nothing to be afraid of. Because here's the thing. I'll just close with this. if you're walking in His will, that's what I call the abundant life, by the way, walking in His will. It's got nothing to do with having stuff. It's got to do with walking in His will. If you're walking in His will, you're invulnerable. You're nigh on invulnerable, as they used to say about some superhero. You're invulnerable until the day He calls you home. So if He calls you home today, that's fine. It's not about the abundant life. Doesn't mean you're going to live to be 100 years old like Dick Van Dyke. It doesn't mean that. By the way, Dick Van Dyke needs Jesus. I love Dick Van Dyke. I just watched 2 videos where he's reminiscing, but he needs Jesus. But that's not what the abundant life is. The abundant life is a full life in Him by following Him. And what is the joy of the Lord? Love and peace and kindness and the fruit of the Spirit's not a coconut. There's a song that helps you remember that. Love and joy, peace and kindness, self-control. The peace that passes understanding. The peace that passes understanding is the opposite of the fear of the Lord. No God, as I say, no peace and no fear, no fear. No God, no fear. That's it. KNOW, no God, and you'll have no fear. You'll still get scared now and then. I'll close with this story. The story of the bumblebee. I got this from Frank Peretti. I don't know if he originated it, but I love the story. I tell the story often because it's one of my favorite stories that I could tell about faith and about fear, really. So this guy's driving in his car. He's got his little girl in the back seat. I don't know how old she is. 6 years old. And this bee comes in. It's not a bumblebee, it's just a bee. A bee comes in. And said, "Daddy, there's a bee in the car. There's a bee in the car." And the bee's flying around, and he can't catch the bee. So he makes a decision, and he grabs the bee, and he lets the bee sting him. And then he lets the bee go. And the little girl's crying, crying. "Daddy, Daddy, the bee, the bee!" And he goes, "Don't worry, sweetheart. I got the stinger in my hand." That's Jesus. He took the sting of death. He took the sting of the enemy. He took anything that really is to be afraid of, which is the destruction of your soul. He took it for you. And he can show you the scar in his hand, actually, probably here where he was crucified. But he can show you the scar in his hand because he took the sting. But but Daddy, the bee's still flying around. It's not dead yet. Because when a honeybee dies, it stings you, it dies. And the devil's also dead. He just doesn't know it yet. His fate is a lake of fire. He has no power over you and me. The only power he has is fear. So he can still scare us. He can fly around our face and our skin. Oh, it's a bee. But he has no power to control us anymore because Jesus took his sting. God bless you guys. Ta ta for now.